Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom, the podcast that brings a special guest out of the multiverse and straight to you. I am David, your host, and today I am joined by Ashweez, aka Ashweez Cosplay, across the internet. You may have seen her on Instagram. You may have seen her on I don't know, everywhere. ComfyCozyCast. She did an online con this year. She's got a podcast, but that by the time this episode comes out, you'll be listening to it too, I hope. So I'm looking forward to getting to know her better. And Ashweez, how are you doing today?
I am good. How about you?
I am doing all right. And I've been following you for a little bit. I'm excited about getting to talk to you. This has been on like my radar of I'm so excited to get to talk to Ashweez.
Thank you. Yeah, it seems like we've been planning this for a while, but things kept pushing it a little later.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's all good in the neighborhood.
hmm
You've got a lot of great cosplay pictures, and I'm getting it out of the way now that we're definitely going to be talking about cosplay. So
Yes.
everybody just sit tight for a little bit. I remember the first cosplay that I saw that I was like, oh dang, like you rock the cosplay world, and that was your Avatar cosplay.
Oh, thank you.
Your Korra. I really love the like how you do your Korra. I love the other stuff, and I was going back and like I'm looking back at your stuff now. I'm like, oh look, you got some really cool other cosplays. You got some skull, like you're wearing a skull mask, and this I'm kind of scared about skulls, and but you've got a lot of great cosplays, and not only do you get to do cosplay, but you feature people on your page, which is awesome.
Yes, I do. I haven't gotten to this past month or so just because it's a little bit of a dry spell, but I try to do feature Fridays every Friday. So I have on my website a place where people can apply, other cosplayers can apply, and I'll write a bio for them and I'll share them on either Instagram or Twitter or both so that they can get a bit more exposure. Cause like I don't have a ton of followers, but I realize that as long as I have more than 0, that's enough to promote other people. So I try to do that. It's been a little bit of a dry spell lately, but I'll just have to cold call some cosplayers to feature.
If you're a cosplayer and you're listening to this episode, please check out the website so that way you can submit to get a feature Friday on Ashweez Cosplay.
Yes, please do. I
Proudly
love
brought to you
I
by
love
Ashweez
seeing
Cosplay.
I love seeing new cosplayers. I've met so many just by doing this, and it's just really cool. And I think it's really helpful for I stress marginalized communities, so like BIPOC, LGBTQ, disabled, like those marginalized cosplayers that you don't get to see as often because of the algorithm or any reason. So I like to focus on them so that they can have their time in the spotlight.
Exactly. And I would love to comment just about this Instagram algorithm is that there are times and I've made a very conscious effort within the past like year and a half or so. Um I really hate it. I hate the algorithm. I
hmm
hate when I go on like explore or like I'm just like randomly like especially on the app where I'm like on it like just like the search or something and it just pulls up and it's like I'm seeing the same people, the same
Right.
like it's just like the same over and over again. I'm like, come on. So I've started to follow those the reshare groups
Oh yeah.
that are specifically geared towards like cosplayers of color
Yes.
and because otherwise like I don't see them and it blows my mind and it really started making me upset and I'm like that there's got to be a better way.
Yeah. Those reshare accounts are really good for I follow a few. I know one of them that I follow is Cosplay of Color, and there's so many amazing cosplayers on there, and you would never see them if you were just looking. Yeah, like you said on the Explore tab, or you just don't see them, and it's really unfortunate because there's a lot of talent out there.
There is and it's it's uh it's exciting to find and stumble across that talent and we're recording now in February and it's Black History Month, February,
Mhm.
and this month is also a month of just finding amazing people that I never heard of, never seen, and clicking through their stuff is just wow. Like I can't believe it. And then I look at like where they are, and I'm like, they should definitely have more people following them. Or
Yes, I know. There are so many times where, like, you see one and, like, everything about their post is amazing, and you're like, "Oh, they have to have, like, 5,000, 10,000 followers," and you look and it's, like, sub 1,000. You're like, "What? That's a crime. That is just not right."
it
So
it is curse you algorithm,
yes,
curse you.
curse you.
Now, we are here to talk with you about fandom,
Mhm.
and we've got some topics that we're going to get to talk to about. And the first one that we're going to start with is one that I learned about, I think, during my first year of doing this podcast, and I actually watched a couple seasons of it, and that is RWBY, which I always
Ruby.
it always boggled my mind when I saw just RWBY. I'm like, how does that make Ruby? I don't
Yeah.
understand, but okay. But how did you first get into RWBY?
So, it's interesting. Back in high school, I had a friend that got into Rooster Teeth through their show Red versus Blue, so that was my first exposure to that company. But it wasn't actually until I wanna say 2015 or 2014. So 2014, I started seeing my boyfriend at the time, now husband. We started dating, and I mean, he still is. He's a game developer, and he worked in Austin with a company that has actually been mentioned quite a few times on the Rooster Teeth podcast. And they have their convention every like summer. It's usually like July or August. They have RTX in Austin, and he was working one of the booths at the convention because it was a game that he had worked on. So he was like promoting the game, and he got in as a staff member, of course, and he was able to get me a free pass. So I went just because I love conventions, but I didn't know anything about Rooster Teeth.
Hmm.
And I saw a bunch of RWBY cosplayers, and they looked really cool. And there was a panel for it, and I saw it on the schedule, and I was like, just like you, I was like, how do you even pronounce this? For a second, I got confused because like it looked kind of similar to RVB, like Red versus Blue. So I got those two actually kind of confused for a bit. But after I attended the con, I saw the cool cosplayers, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty neat." And then I kind of forgot about it for a little bit. And then fast forward to the next year. So if I'm getting my years right, I'm pretty sure it'd be 2015. Unfortunately, the news came out of Monty's passing. So Monty Ohm,
Hmm.
the creator of RWBY, he passed away, and I heard about that. And at this point, I was like very deep into the Rooster Teeth fandom as far as like Achievement Hunter and the podcast. And so I hadn't actually watched RWBY yet, but I was familiar with a lot of the, like, I guess you could call them the talent or the on-screen personalities of Rooster Teeth, and they all were obviously so struck and hurt and grief filled because of this passing. And I was like, well, like, what is this show that everybody's so in love with, and, like, that this very talented young man created? And so it piqued my interest, because of that news, and it was at that point, had been added to Netflix, which was perfect. So it's like, "Okay, I can just binge it on Netflix," and, 1 episode in, 2 episodes in, I was hooked because those episodes, especially for the first season, they're really short.
Hmm.
They're just like little bite-size episodes, and so it was really easy to just plow through the whole first season, and I fell in love with it immediately. I loved the character designs. I loved the like cutesy plot line of like them in school and everything, and like everything about it just seemed really cool. Like I really love the world building in Ruby. That's one of my favorite things about it, is the world building. And also just the very pretty character designs. As a cosplayer, you gotta have good character design.
Absolutely. I didn't know about the show until I had a few guests come on and they talked about it, and or I'd see like their cosplay of it and be like, I have no clue who these characters are, but I really like the different designs because they're so different from each other. It's not like,
Mhm.
say, Sailor Moon, where all the Sailor Scouts are similar, or they're in that same kind of like pattern or design. Like they're just so totally different.
Right.
And then between that and then when Monty Ohm passed, like I was familiar with his work only strictly on YouTube at the time
Mhm, mhm.
from his Dead Fantasy series that
Right,
he
yeah.
did, and like I was in love with that. So then when I heard that, like I remember him getting picked up by Rooster Teeth or starting Rooster Teeth back in the day, and I was like, oh, that's cool. He's going to do some really great stuff because obviously he's doing great stuff on his own time.
Right, yeah.
And so then I got turned on to Ruby, and I've watched at least I think the first two seasons,
Mhm,
perhaps.
mhm.
But yeah, the world building is great. I love the characters, especially, and it's just funny. Like I love Ruby. Like Ruby's
Oh,
just
yeah.
a wackadoodle at
She's
times.
great. I very much identify with her love of cookies. I've been eating so many cookies the past 2 weeks 'cause, a couple weeks ago was my husband and my 3-year wedding anniversary, and my brother was so sweet. He and his wife sent us. I say me because I ate most of them. He sent us cookies, and then of course I got my Girl Scout cookies in the mail. So I've been just like going ham on these cookies. So I'm like definitely channeling my Ruby.
Oh gosh, Girl Scout cookies. I gotta. We. Our family was like, okay, for the month of February, we're gonna do good. Like, no snacks, no cookies, no crackers, no ordering out for Uber Eats because we normally do it at least like once or twice a week. And
Mhm.
this is it's been like we're literally, this is February 4th. We're 4 days into it, and we're all looking around the house like, is there any cookies? Are there crackers? Is there anything for us?
Something sweet for me to eat.
Now, so you got into Ruby, you got hooked by pretty much everything, whether it's like the characters,
Mhm.
the awesome, outfits that they've got. Who's your favorite in the world of Ruby?
Like, in the whole world?
The well, maybe like the main slash side characters, because I don't know if maybe you're going to go like the Avatar route and be like, I like the Cabbage Man.
Well, I definitely have to give it out for my girl, Maria Calavera. I fell in love with her immediately. She's in volume 6 is when she's first introduced, but she's actually introduced as an old lady, and she's a sassy old lady, and I love that about her, and when we got the origin episode, so it was a flashback, or rather part of the episode had a flashback to her as a young huntress. Oh my god, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "I have to cosplay her." Immediately, I was just immediately started taking screenshots and brainstorming how I would do it, and she's just so cool and so powerful, and I love her weapons, and I love that whenever she fights in that episode, it's almost like she's dancing. Like there's this fluidity to it, this just very smooth where like motion where it seems like every move she does is connected to the one that she just did, and it's just super beautiful. And it's just super beautiful, and I love that skull mask. It's really cool. It's very intimidating like you said at the beginning.
Yes, yes. There is something about like skull masks and skull motifs, and I'm like, there are places I'm good with and I'm good to go with, but like seeing that sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, it's so perfect. And I love that in the show, she's kind of revered as this like legendary huntress, like, oh, you hear tales of the Grim Reaper and she's kind of shrouded in mystery. So I do love that aspect to her too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great characters. It's definitely a show, and I don't know why I stopped watching it, but it's
You should get
definitely a
back
show that
into it.
I know it's on my list. Like and that's the problem with doing this podcast is I always get new things that I want to watch,
Oh, I
and
bet.
I put it on my list, and then I don't watch them, and then like I've been binging a show that I haven't seen in years, and I'm just like rewatching it. I just finished it today. I'm like, okay, now I can maybe start something else, and then I'm like, oh, but another show just got released on HBO, and I want to watch
Right,
that.
there's so much just good media out there. There's just so much of it, whether it's TV, movie, anime, whatever, like, there's just so much video games, like, it's impossible to get through it all.
It is, but Ruby's definitely one. I know that the hardest part for me when I started watching Ruby was the initial like getting over like how the animation looks.
Yes, that tends to be everyone's first, like, impression with it. Um, Honestly, at the time when I first started watching it, I didn't mind it that much, like, I was kinda like, "Eh, like, it's alright, like, it could be better," but, like, I felt like I was able to get past that pretty quickly.
Yeah, it took me. I think it took me a couple of episodes at least to like really like be like, okay, I'm okay with it. But I think I'm old, so like there's definitely like an animation style I find myself drawn to more. And
Right.
then when they have like different animation styles, like I guess I could call it like the Steven Universe look,
Okay.
or like the Rick and Morty look, where it's got like just it's like like the characters are really not how I'm expecting them to look and
Mhm,
to
mhm.
move. It's like, okay, I got to get used to this first. But
Right, yeah.
yeah, and I know Ruby is mostly, or if not all, like on the computer, like,
It
and
is,
it's
yeah.
definitely got that animation, like computer like style to it, and it's like, okay, like I got to get used to it. But
Yeah. It with each season, it just gets so much better and better, the animation style and just, like, I mean, the amount of animators that they have now, like, the team that they have on it is so much larger than it used to be, like, it's a whole, production, it's a giant production now, and what's interesting is right before we started recording, I was on Twitter and I was on the official Ruby Twitter account, and they had this video, and it was 100 episodes in 100 seconds.
oh
So
my
it
gosh.
went through all 100 episodes, just like tiny little clips from each, and you can just see watching that short video, like just how far the animation has come. And also they of course show lots of clips from like really pivotal moments and you're like, "Oh, I'm having to get this gut punch like all over again with all these like moments." So it was cool seeing that, but I love just seeing the like I want to see where the show goes. I'm really excited, especially because as of today, as of recording this Saturday, it picks back up again because we had our mid-season hiatus. So it's like volume 8 right now, and there was a few weeks of break around like December and all of January, and so it picks up again this Saturday. So I'm gonna be at my computer right at 10 a.m. to watch the new episode. So like I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm looking at the episodes, or the list of the episodes and seasons now. I think I started watching it when there's only four, like four, maybe like the fifth season was on its way out at some
Mhm,
point,
mhm.
and now I can't believe like there 8 seasons plus they said that season 9 is either starting or that they're starting to like work on it. And
Yeah, yeah. I remember I attended RTX 2019. And so at that point, volume 8 wasn't out yet. Actually, was volume 7 even out? No, volume 7 wasn't out. And I think back then during the Ruby panel, they even mentioned that they already had written like volume 8. Like they're very like their pipeline is like very quick. It sounds like. So, it should be good. I'm super excited for it.
now, where do you watch Ruby? Is Ruby still on Netflix, or has it moved off of Netflix at this
I'm
point?
actually not sure if it's on Netflix. It was on YouTube, but now it's only on, if I remember correctly, it's only on the Rooster Teeth website, and they release it for first members. So that's like their subscription, their paid subscription. They'll release it for first members first, and then the next week it's available for free for anyone. The week after. So this week I'll be watching because I'm a first member. Because I gotta have it. I don't want spoilers.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm right there with you on other things. It's like, okay, the episode comes out at X time. I have to watch it before a certain time period, or else I'm gonna start seeing it all over Twitter, and I
I
hate
know,
that.
it's
I
always
hate it.
Twitter, it's always Twitter. I had to mute I know this isn't a fandom we're gonna talk about at length, but I had to mute WandaVision on my Twitter because I was like, "Don't, please just don't." Especially because I have a friend that, like, they had WandaVision at, like it was, like, the second word in a tweet, and we hadn't watched it yet, so I was like, "Ah!" And I just, like, muted them because I was like, you haven't been very good about like, tagging your spoilers, so I'm sorry, I love you, but I have to mute you for my own good."
Yes, and oh, here's what I hate. Okay, now I'm super into WandaVision as of this recording. Like the fifth episode releases tomorrow.
Yep.
Um, but I hate here's what I hate. Not only do I hate when it's on like somebody's like Twitter, right? I
Mhm.
hate when it's on a trending topic,
Oh,
and I'm like,
yes.
are you kidding me? Like, can you not?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of trending and, again, another fandom that we're not gonna dive into, but just to show just how many fandoms I've got my fingers in, last week, I was just on Twitter, and then I was on the little explore tab or whatever, and then very first trending topic was an Attack on Titan spoiler, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, come on."
That
It's the
that's
worst.
that's another show where I've seen the first season, and then Netflix either didn't get like the second season dubbed or
Right,
something, and I haven't gone off in
the
the
worst.
search of looking for it.
Yeah, I watch it on Crunchyroll. But yeah, it's getting that's something that kinda sucks about the whole like, about the internet is while it's great that we have all this information at our fingertips, it's also just like, but I sometimes ignorance is bliss, and I don't want spoilers, like, not to go off on a tangent too much about spoilers, but, like, I have a one of my best friends dropped Game of Thrones because okay, well, I guess I'll say a spoiler, but it's like I don't. It's like the second. It's a early-ish, let's say mid Game of Thrones spoiler. They hadn't watched the episode yet, and then they were on like CNN of all places, and the header on the homepage was Joffrey dead on a slab. And it's just like, all right, no spoiler CNN, like no spoiler tag whatsoever. Like my friend ended up just dropping Game of Thrones completely because they were like, no, just no, I can't. Like you can't do that. What the heck, CNN?
Yeah, I
Not
have a
cool.
friend. I have a friend that that is very much a person that's like, why do you care if it's spoiled? If you know what's coming, you know what to expect. It's like that's not how I operate. So I like to go in kind of not knowing what's up. Like
Right,
and
exactly.
like going back to WandaVision, they released trailers, right? Like I guess on YouTube or something.
Yeah.
I don't watch the trailers. I just want to see the episode. Just give me the episode so I can be like, "Oh my gosh, this happened." And then I wonder what's going to happen next episode. But
Right.
I don't need next time on WandaVision or a trailer for the episode. I'm good with just watching it.
Yeah, that's totally valid. That's fair. I I don't like spoilers because I want to feel it the way it's intended. Like, I
Mhm.
want to feel those feelings the way that the director and the actors and everybody had intended, like, as they packaged it up for me. And if I just see it and I find out that information in a freaking tweet, like, it's not it's just not as impactful. So, like, for that Attack on Titan spoiler, which I'm not gonna give because it's pretty new. For that one, I found out about it, and then like I told my husband that I saw it. I didn't tell him what it was. I just said that I saw it, and he's like, "Well, do you want to just go ahead and watch the episode?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I don't want you getting spoiled." So we watch it, and the moment happens, and I'm like, "Well, that I would have felt that a lot more
Mhm.
if I hadn't known, because I'd be feeling it." But like instead, I ended up just spending the whole episode waiting for it to happen, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It ruins the experience for me.
I totally understand. I'm right there with you.
Yep.
Right there with you.
People that spoil things are the worst. Just go away.
Let I always try to like let a week go by without saying something about the episode. Like I'll say, "Oh, I really liked it." But I won't say
Right.
anything else until like at least a week goes by, and then like, okay, now that a week's gone by, I feel okay, talking about some of the stuff. But
Yeah, yeah.
I gotta keep that integrity alive.
Of course.
Now, one last question about Ruby
Okay.
is, I know that you love Maria Calvera.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, and I guess this would like fall under a cosplay question. Her character the one that you're gravitated towards, like more for like the character or the cosplay, or are there other characters where you're like, dang, like that outfit right there, like I'm gonna knock the garbage out of that by making a cosplay out of it.
Ah, let me see. I mean, there's always time for new characters, cause man, Rooster Teeth, they just keep knocking it out of the park as far as, like, new characters. Like, there are so many times where you'll see a character and they're on the screen for literally 5 seconds. You're like, "Oh, I wanna know who that person is," and everything. But I feel like with Maria, that's that cosplay is like my baby, I feel like. And I definitely when I saw her, I was like, I wanna be her, and I want everything. Everything that like, the dress, the scythes, the skull, the cape, everything about it. I don't know that there's another character that, like, had that big of an impact on me. Um, the funny thing is, at one point, I really should, cosplay Ruby because when I first started watching, she was actually the one that I wanted to cosplay. I really liked her dress. I'm a sucker for like big poofy skirts, like with giant petticoat. Like I love that silhouette so much, and I just loved her character design. But I ended up not cosplaying her because back then, this is like 2014 or 2015. I wasn't as experienced with sewing or cosplaying in general, and I guess I didn't quite want to just like go buy one, so I ended up cosplaying Blake because her outfit is a lot it's a lot simpler.
Hmm.
It was I only had to custom make her vest because it was just like such a interestingly shaped vest that you couldn't just like find somewhere and then modify. So I ended up cosplaying Blake. Now I've of course fallen in love with Blake as a character throughout the show, and she also has some other outfits that I'd love to cosplay. But one of these days, I need to go back and just cosplay like Volume One Ruby because I just never got around to it because I was kind of intimidated by doing that cosplay because I didn't think I could find something and then just modify it.
Right.
I saw it and was like, I'd have to probably make it from scratch, and I was like, I don't know how to make that from scratch. That's not gonna happen. So one of these days, I'll go back and I'll cosplay Ruby. And then once I do that, I'm sure I'll be like, well, I might as well cosplay the other two, and then I'll have the whole set.
Oh my goodness. Yes, there you go. Now we're going to switch off of Ruby.
Mhm.
Although I will say, and I'm sure that you say too, if you haven't watched it, go give it a try. Go find
Please
it.
do.
Go find it. Go watch it. Go check it out. It may not be for you, and that's okay. But definitely give it like, I'd say at least like what, 3 episodes.
Oh yeah, and they're really short. So if you're not into it by like episode 3 or 4, then that's fair. You gave it a try. You know, it doesn't have to be for everyone. But I would definitely recommend it, and I'm really happy with uh where it's gone. It's so funny too because I remember a lot of people kind of struggled with volumes 4 and 5, myself included. And after volume 5, I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to keep watching this show, but you know what? I'm going to give it one more chance. Volume 6, if it doesn't impress me, I'll just drop it. Oh boy, did it redeem itself like just in time because volume 6 not only introduced Maria, which was great, but it just took off running and it hasn't stopped since. And please go watch Ruby.
Go watch Ruby.
Yes.
All right. So uh, for people that have listened to this podcast for a long enough time, I make mention that out an email. I'm like, oh, tell me some of the stuff that you'd want to be interested in talking about. And one of the things that you had mentioned was a video game that I had no clue about. I was like, I don't know anything about this one. And you said that you're pretty picky about what games you play.
Mhm.
They tend to be indie darlings where gameplay isn't super technical and it's more about the visuals and plot.
Yep.
And you dropped the name Night in the Woods, and I have no clue about this game. I've never even heard of it, and I'm like, I don't know what Night in the Woods is, but it's a fandom that you are really into, and you wrote a very long paragraph about it. So I
Yes.
I know that you're up for talking about it. So what is Night in the Woods? How did you find it? Like, because indie games, number one, are super tough to even like get that kind of like word of mouth promotion out there because that's how they
Right.
exist. So how did you stumble across Night in the Woods, and what drew you to it?
I'm pretty sure my husband found it. So, my husband, being a game developer, he is obviously very into games, and he does a lot of research and plays a lot of games. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he finishes a lot of games, but he plays a lot of them because he wants to see what's out there, wants to see what the competition's like, or draw inspiration from it. And he found Night in the Woods, and it's like I said, it's an indie darling. I don't I honestly don't know how he found it, but I do remember, we were at home and he was playing it, and I was just watching him play, and I fell in love with the art style. I'm big into the art style, if that wasn't, like, obvious. Like, I'm super into character design and art style. It's this, like, flat, almost kinda papercraft type of art style, and all the characters are animals. They're anthropomorphic animals. So the main character, May, she's a cat, and she's got like an alligator for a friend, and like a fox who's dating a bear. Like, it's very cute, and the aesthetic is also just very is it's a very like warm feeling. It's got this fall aesthetic because it's set in like autumn, but like just the vibe of it is just a very calming, soothing vibe, and the music is also some of my favorite music. I'll sometimes just put it on in the background while I work because it's so chill. And I just love that about that because there are so many games with like, and not to knock these games, it's just like I'm not good at these types of games, but there are lots of games out there that are just like super fast paced and there's motion everywhere, and like your eyes can't even focus on one thing because there's so much happening on the screen. Night in the Woods feels like the polar opposite of that, where it's like, no, like, it's cool. Take your time, wander around, talk to the residents of the neighborhood. Just enjoy it, and there's no rush to do anything. There's no like quick time event. There's no fight or battle. It's just you as a cat chilling in your hometown, visiting your family and seeing your old friends, and kind of stumbling upon this mystery that's happening in the neighborhood, in the town, and just figuring that out. And you also there's a lot of replay value in it too, because you've got a couple friends in the neighborhood that you have to pick who you want to hang out with that day, and so you'll get to see that storyline. But obviously if you pick one, that means you don't get to see the other, so it's got lots of replay value there, because you'll play it once and then it's like, but what was Greg doing on this day when I didn't hang out with him? I have to go hang out with Greg. So I love the just very relaxing, chill nature of it, because I am not the most coordinated when it comes to video games. Like, I am terrible at platforming. Like, even if it's just 2D, I'm so bad at it. Give If it's 3D, don't even bother, because I'm like, don't give me one more axis to worry about. Like, I can't even do two. So I'm very much a like not technical gamer at all. And so finding this kind of game where it's story driven, it's character driven, it's just about like the emotions behind it, it really resonated with me. And it definitely seems like it resonates with a lot of people, because Night in the Woods is, I would consider it, it's like a cult classic where Not a lot of people know of it, but the people that do love it to bits, and I'm definitely one of them.
I have to say, and for people that again have listened to this podcast, they know I'm terrible at video games. My qualities of being a video game player probably ended with the maybe Super Nintendo, Genesis era. Like I'm good with, and I say like the Civilization games or
Okay, okay.
the tactics strategy games where I have time to think about what I want to do,
Yes.
or the classic Final Fantasies or up to like Final Fantasy X where I can take my time in deciding what I want to do. Anything beyond that, like the Legend of Zeldas, the Horizon Zero Dawn, like
Right.
all those games, platformer games. Once they went 3D, like I couldn't go with them. Like
Oh my god, yes.
it's just too much. First person shooters, count me out. If it's not up, down, left, right, and the space bar, I can't do it.
Oh, well, then you would love Night in the Woods. You should absolutely check it out.
Now, what's the plot of Night in the Woods? Like, what's going on
I can't
with
believe I
this
didn't
game?
actually after all of that talk, I didn't actually even say what the plot is.
Listen, the artwork is very important, and the
It
the
is,
the
and
speed of the game and what you're gonna get yourself into. People need to know that.
I'm very into the feeling of it. So, the plot of Night in the Woods is you are, as mentioned, an anthropomorphic cat character. Her name is May Borowski, and the game starts off with her coming back home. So she's a college student and she just dropped out. And so she's back home to live with her mom and dad. And you kind of just start off wandering around. I believe it's Possum Springs is the name of the town. You kind of just wander around, you talk to your neighbors, you reconnect with your old friends from when you lived there. And slowly through the course of the game, you kind of uncover this mystery that seems to be happening. There's a character that went missing that was like in your friend group, and you're trying to find out like what happened. And along the way, you've got, just like these fun little mini games. Like there's even like I'm very much a rhythm game person, so I love that there's a part in the game where you play bass in their band and you can have band practice. So you get to have a little mini game that's a rhythm game. But anyway, the plot is basically just you um uncovering this mystery and figuring out this weird dark secret and like dark underbelly of your tiny town, and with your friends trying to solve it and figure out what's going on. And I obviously don't want to give away too much,
Right.
but it's a very it's just a very, I keep saying chill because that's what it is, but it's a chill game with some very interesting like vibes to it, because they'll also have you'll play during the day, like in game during the day, and you go back to your room. Like each day you can go back to your room at your house and then you sleep and then it starts a new day. And there'll sometimes be these dreamscapes where she's dreaming, and the vibe there is really different. So I think it's a great game that like blends a lot of different styles pretty seamlessly, and also has these little mini games um that are just like fun to do in between all the like plot and mystery solving and everything.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a lengthy game? I know indie games typically are on the shorter side of things.
It is short. I don't know that I could like pull a number as far as like hours, but like I mentioned before, there is a lot of replay value. And the funny thing is, I've cosplayed from it, and I went to, it was PAX South 2019 when I went dressed up as May, and the Finji booth, so Finji being the developer or the publisher, I forget which, I think it's publisher. They were at PAX and they had their booth, and so I got to talk to one of the developers, and I mentioned that, like, "Oh, yeah, I've, like, played it 2 or 3 times, and, like, I think I've seen every storyline." She's like, "No, you haven't." And I was like, "What?" And it turns out, like, yes, I may have seen every main storyline, but I probably haven't uncovered every single little thing. And I was like, "Oh, is that a challenge?" So now I need to go and try to find every single little storyline there. Cause there are like these fun little like side things. Like I don't know that I'd call it a side quest, because like it's not very questy, but there are these little side storylines where like if you keep going back to the same place over and over, it unlocks different things, and I need to find all those little secret places.
Challenge accepted.
I know. She was like, no, you haven't." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry."
I did not equate because uh, uh, as we're recording this, you had been posting cosplay updates
Yes.
of something that you had been working on, and I did not equate what you were creating with the pause and everything to this game, but now I do, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Yeah, so for this cosplay, because of that flat style, um, I'd seen other cosplayers cosplay from Night in the Woods, but it was always like, are you familiar with the term gajinka?
yes,
Okay, so it's always that style where it's like, oh, it's kind of like cutesy anthropomorphized, like, oh, I'm still me, but I'm wearing cat ears or whatever.
right.
Um, but I wanted to do something different, and I came across, I mean, I'm always gonna credit him because they've got, like, such awesome cosplays. This cosplayer that goes by Frack Attack, they and their friends did, Night in the Woods cosplays where they made mascot heads, but it's, like, flat, so when you look at it from the front, it looks 2D, and it was so instantly recognizable, and it was so good, and I was just like, "I gotta do that." So I used their tutorial to help me make the mascot head as well as the paws, and then added a little bit to it because, like, in the game, she dresses up for Halloween, or in the game, they call it, like, Harvest Fest, and
Hmm.
she wears, like, a little witch hat and then a cape, so I was like, "Oh, I'll do that too." So, like, I wanted to do the mascot thing, but then take it one step further by adding the costume, so I'm like, "It's a costume of a costume." So, I did that, and, the progress photos that you've been seeing was I actually got commissioned for the first time ever, my first ever cosplay commission, commissioned by someone on Etsy to make that mascot head, and let me tell you, I sent it off, it's on its way currently to Japan, and I sent it off from the post office on, like, last Saturday, and I am just a ball of nerves until it gets there because 'cause I'm like, "Please survive the journey."
Oh my
I
goodness,
worked so hard on you.
going to Japan, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so great, and the funny thing is the commissioner's like, "Do you think you could maybe also, like, well, obviously we'll pay you, but could you also make one for my husband?" And I was like, "Could I maybe let me get back to you on that because making that one kinda took a lot out of me, so I'm gonna take February as a break. February's gonna be just for me, and then come March, I'll hopefully also do that commission for their husband, but I just thought that was so funny. So, it was cool getting to work on it again. I was able to improve some design things to it too, so yeah,
Oh,
it's a lot
that's
of fun.
awesome. That's awesome. Not only is the game bringing awesomeness to you, but you get to like create stuff from the game to be experienced.
Right. Yeah, I can't wait to I'm like, "Please, please share photos once you get the head and the" I think I did the head, the paws, and then also the witch hat because they already had a cape. So, I hope they like it. I'm so nervous.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. I know that obviously with everything that's going on, shipments are still like crazy delayed and backed up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but I'm pretty they seem to be a very understanding and patient, commissioner, thankfully, which I'm very grateful for. But it'll get there when it gets there, but I'm just gonna be a bundle of nerves until then.
that's right. That's right. Crossing the fingers here.
Yes. The
Now,
pause.
crossing the paws, crossing the toe beans.
Yes.
One of the things from we talked about Ruby and we talked about Night in the Woods is that you also not only do you cosplay, but earlier this year, if I'm getting my time correct, and time doesn't really exist for me
Time is a
anymore.
construct. Yeah, it's just Blah.
But you did an online convention called ComfyCozyCon,
Mhm.
and you're also turning that into to like keep the momentum from that is that you're also morphing it into a podcast, the
Mhm.
Comfy Cozy Con podcast or Comfy Cozy podcast.
Comfy Cozy Cast.
Comfy Cozy. See, I knew
Lots of C's.
lots of C's. I gotta make sure I get them all correct and in line with each other.
You're good.
Now, how did you? I guess the first question is, how did you come up with the con? And I guess we'll go from there. Like, how did you come up with the con? Why did you come up with the con?
So this was back in actually August last year, so August 2020. Obviously cons have not been in-person cons have not been a thing for a while, and if you go to one right now, don't. Just don't. So there's been this hole for cons, and there have been some companies that did some virtual cons that I thought were pretty cool, and I honestly, back in August, I just wanted to host a panel because start of 2020, before, this pandemic thing started, I had this goal of like, I want to start guesting at conventions. I want to start hosting panels. I want to, be more active in the con sphere. And of course, rug gets ripped out from under me and I can't because cons aren't happening. Well, come August, I was like, you know what? I have a Twitch. I have a mediocre sized following. Why don't I just host a panel on Twitch? Host one of the panels that I was wanting to do at a con. I'll just like schedule the time, promote it, and I'll do it on Twitch. Well, I just picked one weekend in August because I was like, well, I don't want to do it first weekend of August because that's QuakeCon and I would like to virtually attend QuakeCon. So don't do that. So I picked the following weekend. Well, the following weekend fell on what would have been Anime Fest, which is a con here in Dallas that I would have attended had it not been for COVID. And when I announced that I was going to do a panel, a cosplay friend of mine that I've known for ages here in the Dallas area was like, "Hey, I'm also going to do like an online thing because he hosts. This is Techno Koopa. He hosts a semi-formal ball at Anime Fest." So he was like, "I'm going to host the semi-formal ball on my Twitch on that same day." It just happened to be the same day because he was like, "Well, that would have been Anime Fest, so I'll just host on a Twitch." And my brain was like, huh, 2 panels on Twitch same day. Okay, why don't we just like fill up the whole day and make it a con? I just went ham on it. I asked a bunch of friends. I was like, "Hey, do you want to like host a panel? Like, do you have any ideas to like host a panel on your Twitch?" And they were, "Yeah." And it really didn't take that long to fill the day with it because if even if it's just one person per panel, an hour per panel, you start at like 9 or 10, you really only need about 10, maybe a dozen people. And I put feelers out to fill up the other time slots and it filled up pretty quickly. And we within the span of 2 weeks, um, the con was conceived and then born. And the first one was very, very small. The audience was pretty much all the fellow panelists and then a couple friends, but I had so much fun with it that I was like, why don't we do a winter one? Because, comfy, cozy kind of winter kind of gives that vibe where it's just
Hmm.
like, oh, you want to just cuddle up with like a blanket and some hot cocoa. It's comfy, cozy. So we should do a winter one. So we also did one in December. As far as the name goes, I decided to name it because I didn't want to try to associate that first one with Anime Fest because it's like, yeah, we'll be hosting the panels on the same day as Anime Fest, but we're not affiliated with them at all. We're not tied to them at all, and so I don't want to cross any hairs as far as like organization goes. So I was like, well, then we should just make our own thing. And I was trying to come up with names, and I was like, well, like what is it about this con that's different? It's like, well, it's you just attend it from the comfort of your own home. You can do it in pajamas all day if you wanted to. um and then I looked over at my dog and As usual, he was asleep and he's all curled up, and I always call him whenever I see him like that. I'm like, "Oh, you're so comfy cozy, aren't you?" And I was like, "Ooh, wait, comfy cozy con, okay." And I tried googling like, "What about comfy con?" Oh, that's how apparently that was taken. Cozy con, that's also like kind of taken. Comfy cozy con, not taken. Cha-ching! So I grabbed it, of course, and then it just spiraled from there, and we got a much bigger attendance in December, because we added an artist alley, and I think that helped, promote it a lot, and, we're intending for 2021 to do Comfy Cozy Con once. So instead of like August and December, we're going to do just December, but we're hoping to expand it to 2 days. So instead of just a Saturday, it'll be Saturday, Sunday, so we can accommodate even more panelists because um, it seems like it's. I'm not going to say it's taking off, but I'll say that it looks like it's growing, which is exciting. So that was a really long-winded explanation
It's
of the
okay.
con.
That's okay. And you gotta get those names checked out. Like speaking as a person that does this, it's like, okay, let me like workshop names and then having to go out and check like, okay, does anyone have a Twitter? Does the website exist? Does the
Exactly.
Instagram? Like all this stuff is like, okay, it goes it's all good. Can I live with it now?
Right, exactly. You gotta nail that branding pretty early. And I think that's what helps sell the con, honestly, because I'm a graphic designer and a web designer by trade. That's my day job. And so I was like, if you can make a website look legit, people are gonna come to it. But like if it looks like thrown together and kind of half-assed, then like people are gonna think it's sketchy. So if you make a good looking website, it looks legit. And I think that helped a lot. So yeah, we had our second one in December. We'll have our next one this December. But in the meantime, a few people that were involved with running Comfy Cozy Con were like, wouldn't it be cool if we did a podcast? Because it'd be cool to just do something in the off season, so that we could still be on people's minds. Like, oh, don't forget we have Comfy Cozy Con, but like in the meantime, you can listen to the podcast, and it's also just a great way to have guests on, and hopefully guests that will be on Comfy Cozy Con. So like we could promote the con that way, and honestly, part of it was also just I wanted an excuse to just have a scheduled time every week to talk to my friends.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that especially with the past year and going into this year uh is definitely oh, hey, let's actually schedule time to talk and do stuff. And if we're going to talk, we can always record it and make a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't really have many, or at least I don't have many goals with this podcast as far as like, oh, we want to start getting like sponsors or make money. For me, this is mostly like I want to talk with my friends about the things that I like. I want to promote other people that are really talented and are doing cool things. And then through that can also promote the con, because like the more people we get listening to the podcast, the more people can attend or guest and panel at the con. So it's really just my way of giving something giving people something to look forward to
Hmm.
in a time when it feels like there's nothing to look forward to.
Exactly. And there have been a lot more like the online conventions, and it's definitely something that's needed and out there. And the way that you, because I think I had heard about the winter one,
Mhm.
because that's when I started like getting tuned into to you and to what you had been doing since like maybe I think fall of
Mhm.
2020. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because I've heard of people doing them, like more so like the actual conventions doing them rather
Right.
than individuals. It's like, oh dang, like she's getting you're getting the convention, just like you're gonna bang out a whole convention here.
Yeah. I mean, the beauty of it is because I've been asked before, like, do you see this becoming like in-person con where like you have a venue and everything, and I was like, "Oh god, no." I mean, if in the future, Comfy Cozy Con continues and I've decided that I would like to step away as founder and organizer and whatever, and I, pass the mantle on to someone else, if they are totally free to make it an in-person con if they like. But for me, the one of the major pros of having an online con is you really don't need that much. Like money wise, I paid for a custom URL and like shipping the prizes because like the con we had a raffle for a couple different prizes, so I paid for shipping the prizes, which is like not much at all. Um, and then like Twitter is free, Instagram's free, all those things are free. Twitch don't even need to pay anything for that, so that was one of the things that was such a huge plus is that there really isn't a lot of barrier to it. Like, yeah, you kind of have to be pretty self-driven to organize that and put it all together, but like I don't have to deal with like venues or permits or like hotel location and reservations and all that stuff. Like it's just all gone. Like I know someone that works for Anime Fest, and I was kind of talking to them because I was trying to figure out like, do I need to start compensating the volunteers that help with Comfy Cozy Con? And so I was kind of asking them like, so what exactly are like the like expenses of the con and everything, or like how do you pay guests and everything? And a lot of it came down to like covering the guests' hotel rooms or comping them for food and everything. And like that's just not necessary for a virtual con because it's like you just show up and you're at home. If you want food, okay, go feed yourself. Like like you don't really need to pay for that. So yeah, it's the virtual part of it is it's the only reason I was able to do it. Like I absolutely would not start an in-person con by myself. I wouldn't even know where to begin with that. There's just so much red tape with that. But with like this, it's like the con boils down to it's just scheduled streaming on Twitch. That's all it boils down to. And it's really not that hard. Um, and I keep saying that because I want other people to do it because I would also love to just attend a virtual con and not have to organize it. So please, if you have an idea for a virtual con, please do it and then invite me because I would absolutely attend.
Well, there you go. If people are listening, invite Ashweez.
Yes, please.
Now, the goal of the podcast is to keep the con going. I know that we talked about before we started recording that we talked about you're going to do it in like a batches of seasons of, and
Yes.
then like having scheduled like this episode is going to be about X, and then next episode is going to be about Y,
Mhm.
which I think is a super idea, especially to give you and your other hosts like a break of okay, we got a month. Let's see what we're going to do next and see what worked and what didn't, and keep going off of that, and use it to keep building interest for the online convention, which is a fabulous idea. Like I think that is a great idea across the board.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely wanted to do seasons. So like this first season will be 10 episodes. We finished recording episode 2. We'll be recording episode 3 this week, this weekend. But episode 1, of course this is very dated by the time this podcast episode airs, but our first episode's going to launch February, I believe. What day is it? 4? So 11, February 11. And it'll go on for 10 episodes, and then we'll have a break while we figure out what we want to do for season 2, which I assume will probably also be 10 episodes, but we don't know exactly when that'll start. But I liked the idea of like pre-recording and then giving us some buffer time before actually publishing, because that gives one, it gives our editor off brand time to actually edit the audio for the podcast, and two, it gives us time to reach out to our guests, nail down the outline, and just get more organized, because I wanted to make sure that like this wasn't just hey, let's just turn on a mic and then talk. Like, I wanted to make sure that there was some structure to it. Obviously, I don't want it to be like super rigid, and I'm flexible as far as like if we go off on tangents and that stuff, but like I wanted to have some sort of structure to it.
Hmm. Absolutely, and it works out. It's and I am positive that it will build from the first episode and just keep building, and hopefully it gets the eyes, on the con for this year. And
Yeah.
now, are you planning to do a double con again, or are you just going to aim for like one con? Like what's the con plan?
The plan is to keep it just December because December feels more comfy cozy than August.
Okay.
Um, but we're hoping to extend it to 2 days. So instead of just Saturday, we're hoping to do Saturday, Sunday. That way we can have more panelists, but then also we can start the day a little bit later because I got some feedback from some people that were like, it started too early. I wasn't awake for when it started. I was like, okay, that's totally fair. And that's fine by me because that gives me a chance to sleep in a little bit. But yeah, we don't have a date set, but it should be one of the Saturdays in December
Cool
or
beans.
and Sunday.
And I assume you'll also be implementing the artist alley, online artist alley again for it as well. Um,
Yes. Yes, we would love to. That was such a success. Well, I say that from a like organizer standpoint as far as like how many artists we got and how much it helped with our promotion. Now, did they all get a bunch of sales? That I can't quite say. But I think with each con, hopefully it gets bigger and better and more people attend and patronize these is that the right word? Buy from these vendors, these artists.
Totally. Yeah, like then that's always the thing that whenever I have people that come on, I'm like, man, I'd really love to know if like somebody listened to the podcast and found you as a cosplayer or you as an artist and got involved with you like through Instagram or Twitter, like, and I say you, like talking about you or talking about like previous guests, like it's always something where I'm like, did it work? Did
Right.
somebody like go and follow them on Instagram because
And
they
how do you
heard?
track that?
I can't track it. I wish I could. I
We'll
wish
see
I
if there's
knew.
like a spike after the episode airs.
Yes, the fandom bump.
There you go. That'd be
N-
great.
Now, we got one last thing to talk about, but we've been talking
Mm,
about it all through this episode,
of course.
of course, and that is cosplay. And of I called out your Korra cosplay earlier, but I was going through because I obviously like I did not take the time to scroll back as far as I thought I had. And I just want to say that there's a cosplay that I really love of yours, and it's Detective Pikachu.
Oh,
It's
that one doesn't
so
get as much love, so thank you.
it's just so like it's not like an in-depth type cosplay, but it just translates well on camera, and I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. That one was a fun one to do. It kinda gave me a break because, like, I did that one after making Maria, which I made every single thing in that cosplay. I mean, except, like, my boots, like, I didn't make shoes. I'm not at that level of cosplay yet. Um, but that one, Detective Pikachu was a nice break because I was like, I wanted to do a cosplay where I had to thrift for it, so I went to a local thrift shop and just, like, spent, like, an hour or 2 there, and I found the trench coat, I found the blouse, and I found the skirt. I had to tailor them a bit to fit, but, like, that in combination with, like, Spirit Halloween Pikachu ears and, like, a magnifying glass, and then my husband's coffee thermos, and you're good to go. Like, there's not a whole lot to that cosplay, but, it was a lot of fun to wear. I did manage to wear it, before COVID hit. I wore it at Anime Dallas 2019, and there's a part at the con, I had a friend that was hosting a panel, and they needed some help with some technical thing, so they needed to contact one of the con staff, and so I was like, "Oh, I'm on it. I'll go grab them." And so I ran like through the convention hallways to get back to the staff area so that I could flag someone down to get help. And so I'm like running through the con, and as I'm running, there are people like, "Oh, it's Detective Pikachu," and like I felt like very in character. Like I was like, I'm on the case, and like very action and like running through the con. So like that was like a really fun moment from wearing that cosplay.
How did you originally get into cosplay? Like what was the driving force behind it?
It was mostly just me wanting to dress like the characters. So like this is always my go-to story because it is my cosplay origin story. I did this back in like 2000. I was like 10 and I didn't even know cosplay was a term yet. I wouldn't know that cosplay was a term until I hit high school. And in 2000, I'm like 10 years old. Toonami is playing DBZ, it's playing Dragon Ball Z, and I got really into the Android saga with Android 18, and I was like, "Oh, she's so cool. I want to dress like her." Like, not like necessarily I want to be her so much as just like I want to look like her. I want to take her fashion basically. So
Hmm.
I like convinced my mom to get me like a jean vest and a jean skirt, and then I'd just like wear that all the time and I'd like part my hair like her. And that was my idea of dressing like her. I at the time didn't know that cosplay was a term until I got to high school and I met some people that were in the sci-fi club and they were cosplaying, and they are all dressed as like different characters. Like one was dressed as like a Jedi, and some were from like some animes, and I was like, what is happening? And it's like, oh, we're cosplaying, and I'm like, oh, awesome. Cause I was like, oh, there are other nerds like me that like dress like these fictional characters, and that's awesome. And they introduced me to my first con in Dallas, and I got to see a bunch of cosplayers there and realized like, oh, people actually like wear wigs and like style their hair and everything. It's not just the garments, it's also like props and everything. And like I was just hooked from there. But my origin story is always like trying to dress like an android.
That is like I've heard many a cosplay story, and everybody's different. And
Yes.
it's whether it's they saw a character and they love the character, or they got roped into it by some of their friends. Like
Mhm.
it's always fun to hear like the origin story.
Yeah. That one was always mine. I mean, at the time too, Sailor Moon was also on, but that's a lot harder to find, especially in the year 2000. That's a lot harder to find costumes for. But a jean skirt and a jean vest, yeah, you bet you could find that, especially in 2000.
That's right, because the '90s were out there, and that was something. Now, with your cosplay, my typical question is how do you decide on who you're going to invest your time and tears and blood and money into for doing these costumes? Are you more geared towards, oh, I really love that character design, I want to do that? Is it more like, I love that character and I want to represent them? Is it a mixture of both? Like where do you fall in the spectrum of cosplay?
It's definitely both for me. For me, the character design, the outfit, the hair and everything, that's what draws me in, but it's the character themselves that keeps me there. So, for instance, like we talked about Korra very briefly. Korra, I just always loved her as a character. Like, yeah, she's kind of headstrong and arrogant, but like she's, strong and powerful and she knows exactly what she wants. And I always loved that about her. And I liked her character design. And I liked how she she's not perfect. She has flaws and she has trauma that she goes through and she has to cope with, and I just liked how relatable and human that character is, and on top of that, like, I just thought her outfit was really cool. It honestly reminded me of, like, I mean, now that I say it, it's not gonna sound cool, but, like, it reminded me of, like, the uniforms and practice uniforms that I would use in high school for drill team, because like, we would wear, like, a leotard pants and then, like, a little sash that goes around your waist,
Hmm.
and her book 1 outfit is very much that, and that actually inspired me when I did my cosplay to make it a leotard instead of just a top. Because I remember like a lot of cosplayers that do Korra, they'll just do like a top, pants, and then the sash thing. But I was like, no, I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna make it a leotard because it makes sense. Like she's very active, it would make sense that it'd be a leotard because it would stay put. You wouldn't have it riding up when you're like doing all these crazy moves and everything. And like knowing firsthand from Drill Team of like how good that is of an outfit for that context, I was like, oh, well, that's perfect for Korra. So like that cosplay in particular was definitely driven by both the character herself and also just liking and appreciating the character design because I was like, this is someone that they clearly thought about like, well, what would a waterbender or what would an avatar wear that makes sense? Because it's one of those like, not to crap on like other properties that will do the whole like, oh, when you get like level up, like the women's outfit just gets skimpier and like doesn't really make sense logistically. Like, how are you gonna fight in that? Who is that protecting? Not to crap all over that, but like I liked how there was definitely thought put into the like actual aspect of like this is a person that's gonna be doing stuff in this outfit that's going to be doing very action packed things in it. So it needs to make sense. It needs to not be cumbersome. And I really liked that. So yeah, a lot of my cosplays are based on a mixture of the two.
Okay. What's been your favorite? I know that it's like ask if you ask me to pick my favorite kid, I can't really give you a real answer.
Right.
But do you have one that you lean towards the most that you're like, you know what, this is like my thing. Like I love this one.
I mean, I have to give it to Maria. I I put my heart and soul into that one, especially because um it was a character that only showed up on screen for 4 minutes. I mean, in that outfit, she's in the show more as an old lady, but like her young version, she's only in it for 4 minutes. I put my heart and soul into that cuz I was like I really want to get this done for RTX. And with each progress post that I would post on Instagram, more people would see it and they'd get really excited for it. So I started feeling like not necessarily a pressure, but this hype and like kind of excitement building around people wanting to see me succeed, wanting to see me finish this cosplay so that I can debut it at RTX. And I was so happy that I managed to do that. And I got to meet a couple other Maria cosplayers. So I was like, yeah, you too. Um, it's it's definitely my pride and joy. It's also, as one of my friends put, my most winningest cosplay as well, because I've entered her into cosplay contests before locally, and the first time I entered her into something, she got a judge's award, and the second time I not only got bumped up a division, so I was in novice, got bumped up to journeyman. I not only got bumped up, I won that division. So I now have to retire it. I can't I can't compete with Marie anymore because that would be considered sandbagging. And I'm just so proud of it and so pleased with how well it turned out and how much I learned. So many new sewing and prop making techniques that I never learned before. I feel like that cosplay is the embodiment of so much growth. And it's always going to be one of my favorite ones. Now, granted, the one I'm currently working on, it might at one point outshine it, but you never know.
I will say that I'm looking forward to seeing because I've been watching since I think you started
Mhm.
doing the what you're working on now, and I'm really excited to see the eventual final product because the character design and the outfit is like incredibly stunning, and what I've seen so far is just man, you're putting in like the work and making it, and it's just I'm gonna be so over the moon
Oh,
once
thank
it's
you.
done.
I am too. It's so funny too. This current cosplay. So I'm doing Seraphine from League of Legends, specifically her all out skin that is also in the More music video, the KDA music video. And the funny thing is, I just went on and on earlier about how my cosplays are picked because of their design and my draw to the character. This is like the one time where I'm picking it because like I don't actually know a lot about this character. I don't play League of Legends, but I do ingest a lot of KDA music videos and like just KDA stuff, and I kind of fell in love with her in the more music video. And so this is actually one of those times where I'm like, I'm actually making this and I don't really know anything about this character, but I just know that she's very pretty and she's very shiny and I want to be pretty and shiny and I want to dance in it. And so I'm doing that for the first time, but I think I'm heavily motivated by for this one, I'm heavily motivated by learning new sewing techniques that I can incorporate into it, really stepping up my craftsmanship. And then also my real goal is to finish it so I can do a dance cover in it and look awesome. Is what I'm hoping.
Well, I'm crossing my fingers. I like the shiny. Like that's what caught me. I was like, "Oh,
I
that's
know.
really shiny." Like
So shiny.
that's like supernatural shiny. Like
I
I,
know. It's
I,
perfect.
I'm excited to see like how it equates with like what you are doing and seeing like the side by side comparison of like shininess.
Yes. I'm going to be so shiny. It's gonna be great. Gonna be shiny.
Normally, I would ask. I know that you're working on Seraphine, and I would normally ask in a normal year, like, oh,
Right.
like what conventions are you looking forward to, and what's on your list? And a lot of cosplayers do have like their list of I'm gonna work. I want to hit like I want to complete Seraphine, but then you have like two or three others that are on your list. Like,
Mhm,
do
mhm.
you have a list this year? Did you kind of throw the list away after last year?
I honestly don't, and this isn't even a COVID thing, this is more just a me thing. I typically focus on one cosplay at a time, and so Seraphine is my one and only right now. That sounds very romantic, she's my one and only. Um, She's, my one goal for 2021, but I do have a deadline for her. I'm hoping to finish her by April because there is a online cosplay contest that I'd like to enter her into in the sewing division. So my goal, fingers crossed, is to finish her in time to take video, take pictures, and submit it for the contest.
I'll be crossing my fingers over here
Thank you.
for you. Now, my last question before we wrap up
Mhm.
is I've had a number of guests, especially cosplay guests, that come from the Texas area, and they all say the same thing about the cosplay community and the conventions. Is that especially the cosplay community is Texas has a very welcoming cosplay community, and I'm just curious if you find that to be true. Like, how have your dealings been with the Texas cosplay community?
It's like you said, it is very welcoming. I've made so many friends here in Texas through cosplay, whether it was at a con or mutually online. Um, I mean, with every community, you're going to have some drama here and there, but I think the Texas community as a whole is very welcoming. And actually, Techno Koopa, the one that helped found ComfyCozyCon, I met him because there used to be a club that was based in Dallas that back around like 2009 that was for cosplay. It was called the Texas Metroplex Cosplay Coalition, I believe is what it used to be called, and they would do meetups where it's like, yeah, let's go to the Galleria and ice skate in cosplay, or like go watch a movie in cosplay, or go do karaoke in cosplay. Like basically do normal fun hanging out stuff, but do it in cosplay. And I met a lot of really cool people that way. Some that I'm still in contact with, like Techno, and they're just very welcoming and very friendly. And I've I'm sadly I'm going to be moving at one point this year away from Texas, but I'm going to do my best to really keep good contact with the friends that I've made here because I want those friendships to last. And hey, they can always come visit me for the cons that I go to up north, so that'll be good.
That's right. There's always and especially with like the internet, like there's always a good way to keep in touch as long as it's a two-way street.
Yes,
Be-
absolutely. So I'm gonna do my best.
That's
Part
right.
of that's with the podcast, so that'll help.
Exactly. It's like, oh hey, let's talk, let's hang out.
Yeah.
All right. So we've covered a lot of stuff. And if you, the listener, has enjoyed getting to listen to Ashweez at all at any point and want to find them out on the internet, where are the best places that they can do so?
So I am Ashweez Cosplay on pretty much everything. I have a website, ashweezcosplay.com. I share my builds on there. So if you ever want to find out how I made a cosplay, you could check that out. I'm Ashweez Cosplay on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. And then I also have a shop on my store, and I sell cosplay prints as well as cosplay merch. So I actually designed some apparel that's like cosplay themed. So the one that I just came out with, it says like it's like a little speech bubble that says "Ask me about my cosplans." So you could find stuff like that. So if you're big into cosplay and you want to represent that community a bit, I've got merch for that. So you can check that out.
And I will have all the links, not only for you, but for Comfy Cozy Con and Comfy Cozy Cast. I'll make sure to have all the links to Ashweez and to those the con and the cast, so that way you can click on them and make sure to follow the Twitters and the Instagrams, because they do have that. Because I just made sure to follow them and make sure that I was following them. As a responsible podcast host, that is my duty to make sure that I do that. But all the links are in the show notes, the Facebook page, the website. You can click on them. Go check out Ashweez. Make sure that you give them a follow, so that way you can check out their work and check out their pages and Twitters and everything. And by the time this episode comes out, your podcast will have started. So be sure to take a listen and check out the Comfy Cozy Cast. And Ashweez, I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come talk to me, because I really enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you. I enjoyed it a lot too. This was great.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.